Magic Makers. I'm Mom Birella.
Hi, and I'm CJ Peterson. Welcome to Magic Making Mischief. Get your wands to the ready, because we solemnly swear we are up to no good. Well, today on Magic Making Mischief, we have the amazingly talented Cheryl Trent, who's kind of got two things going on. She's a cosplayer as well as an author. But before we get there, Mondi, how was your week?
Well, this week's been a little rough, actually. My dad's in the hospital right now. He had to have some surgery done on his nerves and blood vessels around his brain right now, but he's recuperating. They have him in the recovery right now. He's in ICU for the next couple of days. But I just want to thank everybody who has been so supportive in this time. This is kind of rough for me and my whole family. We really love our dad, and it's hard seeing him go through that. But thank y'all so much for all the prayers, the positivity. I really appreciate the support. Y'all are awesome.
Definitely. Well, we're getting ready. I have my Comic Conner shirt on because on Friday starts Comic Conner for the weekend. I will not be doing my Punk 11 cosplay. I put it on today and I kind of like a zombie. So I'm like, no, I'm going to bypass that one.
I disagree, but okay.
I am going to go as 11. It's not the dress 11 like you have, Mommy, but it's like one of the ones.
Wait, you mean a Wednesday? You said 11. You mean Wednesday?
It's going to be Wednesday, like one of her outfits that she wore after the school day. So like the striped shirt, the vest, and everything.
Like more from the series than the original.
And I have the braids that are going to go down to forever. So cool. We have that. But this week we had something really fun happen. We got ducks. They're the little Aflac ducks, and they just this morning. So this is one of them. And then this is the other.
Daily dose of cuteness.
Definite. They are downright adorable. I know, buddy. I'm sorry. Here, he's back. So we know we have 3 males. So the male names that we came up with are going to be, one of them Sassy Pants, because they tried to attack my daughter as soon as we opened the thing. The second male is going to be Captain Quack Sparrow. And then it's going to be Daniel Quackson after Stargate SG-1. So Daniel Quackson. So those are the males, and then we're going to have a couple female. We have like 10 total. So yeah, we need to.
I'm surprised there's not a Captain Pet card or something like that. No.
There might be. There's a 4th male. I think I would do that. I will. I have to write that.
Maybe no Star Trek ones yet, but okay.
Card.
Something like that.
Something like that.
That's great.
Mombi and I will both be at Comic Conner this weekend.
Yes, all weekend.
Our Marauders map in hand to see what kind of mischief we can get into. I know I'm super excited about some of the guests that are going to be all the guests, but a couple in particular I'm pretty excited about. So
yes, I'm so ready for this. Oh,
it's going to be fun. I love doing them. So I hear you. Just chill. So Miss Cheryl Trent, like I said, she's a cosplayer as well as an author, and I have read her one book, Daughter's Fortune. Well, part of it. Is it done yet, or is there more?
Well, that's the cool thing about Vella. It is a serial subscription. If you're not used to like serial subscriptions, that's actually how fiction kind of started. Good examples are Three Musketeers, Count de Monte Cristo, Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. All of those are fictional pieces. Most of Charles Dickens is serial fiction. It starts off as serial fiction. So yeah.
I love it. I love that character. She's feisty. I like her.
Oh, you love Janelle.
In like, what was it, 1700s or 1600s?
So it's the late 17th century. It's 1688 is when it starts.
Okay, yeah, she's a captain of a ship, not a pirate ship.
Not a pirate ship.
I was like, not a pirate ship. Not dealing to the East Indian Trading Company either.
That's right. I wanted to write a story about characters that would exist during the time but never get seen, and so that's why Jeannot and her motley crew exists. And there were female captains, there were women that were in the business industry. It just was not easy for them to do, and Jeannot deals with a lot of that. When you get further into the book, she actually deals with being property being owned by her
Commodity.
husband.
A commodity.
Yeah, she's a commodity. She's a commodity. She's owned by her dad, and then she's owned by her husband. Luckily, she has a very good dad.
Kind of sold by her mom. So
yeah. Mom's an issue all the time.
Mom's got issues.
Oh yeah.
Mom's
But
got issues.
that, and I really enjoy. I'm glad you liked it. I really enjoy liking it. I think my kid described Jeannot best as a chaotic bisexual and her gay friends on a cruise.
I love her first officer. I love him. He's
Jean-Pierre.
Yes.
Yes. Jean-Pierre. And once you get further into the book, you'll start learning about some other characters. There's trans characters. I don't like to make things super obvious or anything like that, but heavy POC characters going on in the stories, and they all have them. Specifically, like Olaf is an excellent example of the high African American Dutch, or African Dutch, I should say, African Dutch. And so the Netherlands had a heavy population of individuals that had been immigrated from Africa, of the African regions, and became citizens in the Netherlands. And they were considered 100% citizens like anyone else. The Netherlands is very unique in this time frame. They're very independent. This is where all of that, when we have the revolutions that are going on, this is a lot where that comes from. Right now, you have those writers writing those Enlightenment pages. That all that Enlightenment is coming from this time frame, and so that it's really interesting. It's a lot of fun, and they go on some crazy adventures.
Can I say one thing that's kind of not a spoiler, but it's bad. It's awesome. Like bad, good, bad. She actually tosses somebody overboard.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, how many times have you wanted to toss somebody overboard? It's her shit. You can do what she wants. And I'm just
are you talking about the first time someone goes overboard or the second time someone goes overboard?
How far have you got?
Second, because the first one was kind of voluntarily. The second one. But no,
I can really be blamed on her with the first.
But yeah, no, but it was for good reason. The first one was, but the second one, no. How would you like to have the power? She just chucked him overboard and said, "The shore's right there. Try to get there. That's your way."
100%.
Yes, you go, girl.
100%. And that's going to be an interesting thing because like I said, it's a serial fiction. Technically, season 1 is wrapping up right now, and that will be also transferred over into a book. It'll become book 1. And that will become book 1, and then you will continue it. But the serial fiction is really nice with Bella, that you can just keep moving along. And so you have one thing that you can go in. It's like, ooh, I've got a new episode. I can read that. And then you can keep up with it. And I like to drop my episodes about every 3 days. So you're always something. And I do have 2 other books on there. You were asking me earlier. I do have 2 other books on there.
I have dog issues. I'm sorry.
Well, I just had a giant car go by. So I do have 2 other books on there, and both of them are very interesting. The other major one is Medusa.
Yeah, I was going to say I just saw that one that you'd released the video about it or whatever. So I went and looked for it just yesterday. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I miss this one?
Yeah. So Medusa is her story, and it is basically all of the Greek mythology is done from a patriarchal male view. And so I flip the script and do it based on the information that I have and what I'm looking at, and I create a story. The first half of the story is very much just kind of like giving you a basic life of what a Greek girl would be like. And I say Greek girl quasi because this is actually the Macedonian era and not Macedonian, sorry, Mycenaean era. And that, so the living on that, but it's a very fuzzy area. We don't have a lot of information on it, and so I do what I can in there, but she deals with a lot of the same issues. She deals with being property. She deals with trying to make her own path. And of course, now we have gods involved. And so it gets really tricky. So it's fun. It's I do it in mythologically, so it is a lot of fun. There are monsters, there are gods, there's lots of adventure going on. But really, at the core of it, and at the core of most of my books, is all about self-discovery. It's all about learning who you are, so that you can be better and find those things that you're seeking.
Yeah,
I love that you put the historical side in there too, though. That you have
Oh, yeah.
a lot of that.
Yeah, and I love the strong female characters because
Oh yeah,
in my books, a lot of my characters are pretty strong females, and then there are some that are kind of dealing with the whole issues of, where is that line?
Right.
And I love, like I said, I love Juno because she doesn't care where the line is. She's just like, whatever.
yeah. Well, and like I said, it really comes to a head. Like, I think you're right at that point where. Have you met Gustav yet?
Yes.
Yes. That becomes an interesting situation. Keep reading.
I read up to Saturday. Whatever was up for Saturday is what I read to. I actually literally read it in one day.
Oh my gosh.
I just kept reading it. I'm just like, no, and that's
yeah. So
no,
those are being released, and so definitely dealing with that, and then
when's the book supposed to come out?
So I have to wait because of policies with Kindle. That once I have all of book one out, once season one out, then I can. I have to wait 30 days before I produce it. So we're probably looking at May is what I'm shooting for to have that put together, and so that will be starting my project and of course getting everything together now. And it'll be my first official printed book, KDP. This is all new to me. This is like I've been writing my whole life, but I haven't ever like put anything out to publish. And my kid was like, "It's time."
That jump because a lot of times as artists in general, let's just trying to grab Mommy Rella in with this. If I just say authors, that doesn't count, but she's an artist too.
Yeah.
Being an artist, a lot of times we're afraid to put it out because it's almost like you're putting your heart out and going,
oh yeah,
please don't squish it, please don't squish
yeah,
it.
yeah.
This is a part of you that's now putting it out there. And for those who aren't familiar with Kindle, is it Vella or Vellum?
Kindle Vella.
Vella. You actually get 200 points to start automatically. So that allows you to zip through some stuff with 200 points. But just be aware that they do up those points at the end. So when you actually do purchase points, they're not that expensive. And they do regulate a little bit more between 10 and 15 as opposed to a couple of those end ones that are like 42 and 32. Because I'm like, going, seriously, I know I had enough to finish this.
Well, and that has to do with, and that's actually has to do with a lot of, because I speak to a lot of other Vella authors and we look at it. And originally when Vella started, most people were putting out an episode would cost about 20 tokens or something like that, about 2,000 words. And we've now found that it's actually better to do between like 8 to 12 tokens. And that way the reader doesn't feel like they're like dropping too much at a time, I can put a little here. And the tokens are pennies. They are pennies. And, so
they're not that much. Like I think I had 500 for like $1.92.
Yeah, you get 200 for $2.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And then if you spend more, like if you spend $15, you get 1,700 tokens, and that drops your tokens to like 0.08 cents or something like that. It's like it's pretty low, and it's really nice. And it does give you the ability, like, oh, well, I can go ahead and grab this week and I'll be okay. And then you can binge pretty hard. I just recently binged pretty hard on a book, and I caught up, and I was like, I
read yours on Sunday. I have to take a quick second to show you guys this. I'm exhausted. The poor little duckies. Sorry, it was just too cute for me not to share.
And Vella's really so writing is, and even big publishers are switching to subscription. That is the focus that is now going to that. So it's really funny that it's where it started and it's where it's going to shift back to. So
it's kind of the same regarding like Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu.
Exactly.
It's a whole subscription thing. Well, everything is a la carte.
And the new generation, they love the serial fiction. They love, just like my kid will chew through 80,000 K in a day.
Oh, wow.
It's insane. It's
It's little bites, so it's like,
yeah, exactly. It's little bites, and that's what I tell people. And I was like, they're like, "Oh, I can't read a whole book. I can't do that right now." I'm like, "That's okay. Go flip up your phone, go read this on your break, and then it's going to take you like 5 minutes, and then you can come back and read another one." I have someone like that right now.
The difference between these two books. So
Yeah.
Obviously, this size, and which is like 400 pages. Like, I can't read that book, but this one's 275.
Yeah.
However, if I write 2 of these, that's the same as 1 of these. So it's almost like a better deal. But sometimes
Who was it? Was it Jared Tolkien that did
his was
the Fellowship of the Rings, the Two Towers, the
Yeah.
Return of the King? They were all supposed to be one long book, but it would have been so thick that no one could have afforded it.
They're like this.
Yeah.
They're like this.
They're all
and it was during World War II, so he had to release it in smaller portions each time.
Well, Count of Monte Cristo, if you've ever read the actual full version of all the serial releases of Count of Monte Cristo, it is a book like this.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes all over the place, but then it all ties back together. So you're like reading all these little stories and you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Why do I need to know this information? And then, of course, my writer brain and my history brain are going off. And I was like, this is a serial fiction. He's like giving us filler episodes, just like if you're watching TV, it's always a filler episode, but it'll be important later.
Now I wonder if Princess Bride was like that, because it had weird off-color moments that I'm just like, why are we spending 30 pages packing a suitcase? What is happening here in this
That
book?
is an actual joke.
Oh my gosh.
Book is an actual joke. And I almost got fooled by it, and I had to go do my research because I was like, what's going on? All the history stuff he's telling you is absolute fiction. All of the background stuff he's telling you is absolute fiction. The fact that he was like, oh, I did this research and they were talking about all this. He's making fun of J.A.R. Tolkien typewriters. Martin typewriters. That's what he's making fun of, is those writers that spend all those hours talking about the belt buckle and the color of the dress. And actually, I'm an anti on that. Like, I like giving you a little information, but I know you're painting a picture in your head, and I don't want to ruin that with too much detail.
Okay. Before we run out of time, we're already halfway through.
Oh, yeah. So let's move
to jump into the cosplay.
Cosplay, yes.
Who do cosplay, and what is it, and what's it like?
Well, hold on, wait. My favorite is I gotta say my favorite first though, because I already have one. I've seen her a few things, but like Sally Skellington. The last time I saw your cosplay, you had the Sally Skellington, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is so great. And she goes, yeah, I hand painted these pinstripes. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, specifically on Sally Skellington with that one, it had stripes on the clothing, but they were so faint and they didn't have that drawn feel. So I took a white pen and I went in and I drew all of them. And because I have a slight shaky hand, it gave that little etched feel to it. And I was like, this is freaking, but yeah, I etched that entire suit.
That's awesome.
It
looks amazing.
So I come at cosplay a little bit different than a lot of people. I'm actually a clothing historian. And I am a professional seamstress. So that's where I started. And I was putting costumes together before I could sew. I didn't learn until I was 23. But I've done a lot of different cosplays. My personal favorite right now definitely has to be Queen Beryl. She just came out so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I would have never done her if my friends hadn't decided that they wanted to be Sailor Scouts. Because I am not a Sailor Scout. But I've done lots of fun ones. Gadget, Jessica Rabbit. Right now, I have one on the project I really want to do. I want to do the female Doc Ock from Into the Universe. And that one will be really fun if I get it done, because it should look like I'll be floating. Like, that's one of the tricks I want to do is that.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So here are some of, that's that one. Here's one.
Yes. And so with my, one of my passions is upcycling. I absolutely love to upcycle items. That's my kid next to me. They actually have a whole costume on their own. and including the puppets and the guitar. Where I got started in clothing is actually with that. That's where I got started in conventions, was with kimonos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I used to sell kimonos, and then I did steampunk clothing for a long while. And I've just done a lot more cosplay recently because it's focused on just enjoying myself and having a lot of fun with it. That one is really cool. That dress right there. That is actually I'm Besbin. That one right there. I'm Besbin. I am the floating Cloud City. I am Cloud City. So from Star Wars, and so it lit up, and I even got a cool thing when I was at Star Wars convention. I was at the Star Wars celebration, and I got stopped, and my whole dress got put up on the big screen, and like thousands and thousands of people got to see it. So that was really exciting.
I want to take a quick second because Aaron Tornado G said hello. So I wanted to say hello.
Oh, hey,
Aaron. And Call Me Jazz says hello.
Hey, Jazz.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say hi to them real quick. But
did y'all have any questions for me on the cosplay?
I'm looking for your gadget, because the first time, actually, I was thinking that was the first. I was like, no, the first time I saw you, you were at Comic Palooza, and you were Gadget from the Rescue Rangers, and I got the shot because I was just like, oh my gosh, I got out of the line to go in. I was just like, hold on, I'll be back.
Fun because it does pure joy. Like anyone sees me in that outfit, it is absolute pure joy.
And that connection to childhood right there. You know?
Yeah. And that's what it was for me. Like and it was because of Disney Plus. Disney Plus dropped Rescue Rangers, and I showed my kid, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do Gadget.
Like when you find a character that you like Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's like if you can figure out how to do it, it just brings a little spark to it. You know?
My first cosplay was actually Jessica Rabbit, and that really has to do with that. And I know this comes from a very unusual situation, but I am a shapely redhead, and it was like one of the first.
Can we see this? Can we see this? There it is. I love it. That's the gadget right there. Gadget from Rescue Rangers. Let's see if my lights don't reflect.
It's good. Yeah. It was the first time I saw myself on screen, and it took an animated character to get there, but it was especially since she had a deep, sultry voice, and she had and she sang. All of that connected with me. So,
Mombi, what date is that?
That was actually in her profile pictures.
Well, that's where I'm at. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, it's July 29th. And then the next one's Jessica Rabbit after that one.
Yeah.
I was trying to find it. Some of these are gorgeous. That wedding dress.
Yeah. So how much of this do you retool ones that you find, or do you sew a lot yourself now?
So I do. I kind of like to meld. If there's a shortcut you can do, I highly recommend to individuals, don't be afraid to use the shortcut. And I present cosplay, in sewing classes and all that at conventions and stuff. I'm actually working with Comic Palooza right now because we always do panels with them, and we'll probably end up doing our line. One of my personal favorites right now, which is called Line to Life, and that's talking how to take something that is animated or drawn and bringing it into reality. And then deciding how much cartoon you want or how much realism you want. Anyone who's watched superheroes over the years, that line is always, it's like, from the X-Men, talking to my kid about the first X-Men series that came out in the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And I was like, they did not follow the comics. They just made these cool costumes, except for Mystique. And Mystique's is absolutely beautiful. Every time Rebecca Ramon Stamos comes on the screen, I'm just like, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't, petticoats, the gadget outfit. I was not going to go make a dungaree. I was not going to go, I knew they existed. So I actually I found a painter's painter's smock, because painters wear these full white suits when they're painting. It's called a painter suit. And I just was like, okay, we're gonna dye it. And so I dyed it, and I nailed the color the first
Oh
time.
no, it was perfect. Yeah, the color was great. Oh my gosh, I would have never guessed you just dyed it.
Oh yeah, I just dyed it. And so those little and of course Gadget on top of everything else, because Gadget stuff is all like hobbled together and all strange things. But Gadget's two little like her goggle type things, that's too many red Solo cups.
Really?
They're the ones you can get at Dollar Tree, and they're little mini red Solo cups. And then I just put them on a belt band, and I painted it all blue. I took a little piece of black foam and I dropped it in there so it looked like it had goggles going on. The ears are leather. They're just a very soft, supple leather. And I think I put a little bit of staining and coloring on them, not much. And then I just sewed them on. Yeah.
What's your ideas for stuff like that?
I'm just one of those that I just sit there and think about it. I'm definitely one of those individuals that you see in like the TVs and the cartoons that just kind of looks at something and goes, oh, that'll work. And you know, I was a steampunker for a very long time, and steampunk is like that. Steampunk is like, how do you cobble gadgets? If you look behind me, you can see over here, if you look, you can see all of these. I have all of those boxes have just tiny little bits and fabric and everything, so that if I need to go look for something, I've got it all sorted and everything, because I'll go to thrift stores and I'll grab something and I'll be like, I probably can use this for later. And then I'll then do all that and everything.
Well, we have just a few minutes left. I know our time's already coming to an end, which stinks. We're going to have you back. Definitely.
Yeah.
But if you had like one gold nugget to give, we'll start with the authors. To give to the authors, what would it be?
My golden nugget for authors is take the leap. Right now, the opportunity is there that you don't have to go through traditional publishing. That really kept me back for a very long time. But you have indie offering, you have the subscriptions now, not just Kindle Vella. There's Wattpad, there's Radish. There's lots of opportunities out there. And there's then
hybrid publishers are out there.
Well, and on those, I always caution us, like, try to be careful putting money in. You know, and keep yourself from getting scammed, but and definitely do your research before you anything, and know that marketing is going to be
definitely
minimum 50% of your time. You know, it's like you think you're writing, you're like, oh, I'm done, my writing's out there. No, I spend, and everyone will. You know, that's why traditional publishers were out there, is they did all the marketing. But the way it is now, you can be very successful if you're willing to do the marketing yourself and get yourself out there. And it's a lot of work. And then on the cosplay, don't be afraid. Don't, you know, it's like, even if you show up and your costume is made out of cardboard and thrift items, and, you know, and don't be ashamed of that at all. At all. My magenta costume, Scarlet Witch, my Scarlet Witch costume, that's 100% intentionally purchased items, except for my crown, which I got 3D printed by a friend. Because you can do that. You can do closet cosplay. You can do stuff where you can create costumes. So I'm sure your Wednesday costume is, you know, you bought a dress and then
you didn't. She did. Mommy did. I have the one with like the black jeans and the black shirt, and I don't do dresses unless, you know, someone's dying. Getting that's
great.
I have like, I think 3 dresses in my closet. That's I don't do those.
But and then on both of them, my final nugget would is ask questions, and don't be afraid to reach out to your community. Because I don't know in either community where people would shut you down. They're like, yes, but you know, it is, both of them are lift up communities, and they will help you get to that place you want to be.
Definitely. A lot of people don't understand. They're like, well, I'm in competition with them. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
And the authors, they're just happy that people are reading. So they're all for like everybody succeeding. As far as cosplayers, you know, we just love life. and we love
Yeah.
celebrating it. And we're all weird. We own our weirdness. We own our geekness. We own our uniqueness. And that's why we generally accept everybody. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a little bit of
The whole cosplay scene and stuff. Like, I used to dress up when I was younger. I don't think that was a term back at that point,
No,
It's like, and then I had kids, and so like all that spaces of time where like you kind of just put your own stuff off. You're like, okay, well, this can wait. And whenever I started doing Comic Cons was only within the last 3 years. right after the shutdown, basically. Comic Con was really it was my second, because I hit Comic Palooza right before the shutdown.
Yeah,
the last one. So it was just like crazy. And I love it. It really is an accepting crowd of people. Like,
absolutely.
there's
Absolutely.
not, it's not that kind of judgmental setup where, it's not modeling,
Yeah. And it can be scary sometimes. That's why my recommendation is just do it. Just have fun. Don't be afraid. Because
if you're at a Comic-Con and you see something that you really like, say, hey, how did you make that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And they'll tell you.
They even have little rooms in the back for cosplayers that need little emergency fixes.
Right, they do now. I've seen that in a lot of them now.
There's
awesome.
almost always going to be some sort of station where you can go and fix cosplay. There are specific cosplayers that is their cosplay, is they are cosplay nurses, is that they go around and they will carry the glue, and I always have that on me too. Because I ran a booth for so long, and you could come to my booth and I would like pop open my kit and I'd be like fixing things.
A little sign for cosplayers, like a little flag or something that people know.
Well, that was, they just knew, it was like Cheryl has something. Cheryl's gonna have the super glue.
You were the go-to.
We could keep going on for like over an hour, I'm sure.
Honestly, yes. We're gonna have to have you back because we could keep talking with you.
We're actually over time now. But we're over. So next week we're going to have Scott Smith back from Comic Conroe. He's going to have a sneak peek with us and a little announcement or two. So make sure not to miss it.
In regards to next year's Comic Con, so this will be awesome.
I happen to know what one of them is, and I am bursting at the seams, so I cannot wait. So make sure
I can be there, but I can't afford the tickets right now, so I'm kind of sad.
Stay after.
Yes.
So make sure to tune in next Wednesday, 11 o'clock on either Facebook or the YouTube, or if you listen to the podcast, make sure to catch it on whatever your favorite listening platform is. In the meantime,
also join us for Comic Con. We'll be posting things throughout the weekend as well. So
then what I'll do at the end of it is I'll loop a little video together and we'll set it up onto YouTube. So in the meantime, though, Mombi, take us out.
Mischief managed.